Hi, and welcome to the Alice Chen Show. This is episode 13. We are talking about 2018. Alice, how are you doing today?
I'm good on this freezing cold day. How are you?
It is a freezing cold day. So let's thaw out and let's talk about 2018, the warm, hot year that you had.
Sounds great. So 2018, the mortgage rates were still in the 4s, if you remember, Bill. I mean, what would we give for that today?
Gosh.
And then there was 4 months supply inventory, give or take. So again, very different from, what we're experiencing today.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. So 2018 was a very big year, and not in a good way for my business. So 2018 was probably, I would say, the height as far as the total number of members of my team. So I think at the height in 2018, we were probably at, 14, 15 members.
Wow.
Which now, I can't even imagine. That's just way too much, at least for me to handle effectively. So I was just hiring people, just to hire people again. And I had agents come on, and I was in a mindset that I wanted to make this massive team, and just increase our production in volume and units, and didn't really think it through as to how that would look.
Okay.
So while this was happening, 2018, I was expecting again. I was pregnant again with my son, Isaac, at the beginning of the year, and he was born in May. And so I was still working throughout the pregnancy. I still felt pretty good. And a couple of things happened during that pregnancy that I didn't expect. Again, I experienced a lot of people didn't want to work with me because I was pregnant. They didn't know if I was going to come back, which was definitely disappointing and hurtful, of course. And then I just thought to myself, you know what, this is just a moment in time. And once I'm no longer expecting, I will look normal again, and people hopefully will work with me again.
Yeah.
So some of the crazy stories, and this was before I think I started really showing, so it would have been the very, very beginning of the year. There was a fellow that wanted me to list his house. And he owned a business. It was some of you might have heard of it, a salt cave business. And so he wanted to meet at this is when I still had ISAs, inside sales agents. So they set up an appointment for me, and I went to meet him. I'd never met him, didn't know him. And I met him at his place of business, which was the salt cave. I know, you laugh. So, I already knew right when I sat down that it was going to be a very quick listing appointment, because there wasn't like a formal sit down at a table. I'm going to show you the market analysis. We're going to go through marketing, all of that. There was none of that. Okay. He just wanted to know what my commission was, and also what my fee was, and then what price I would list the house for. He wanted to cut straight to the chase. Then he started talking about, I don't even know how we got onto this topic. He wanted to know what my political thoughts were, okay? I'm trying to remember even what was going on during that time in the political climate, but to me, it was inappropriate and off topic, right?
Right.
And so I started getting really uncomfortable, and I sat there and just didn't really say anything, or didn't really respond. And then he just said, I can't even say anything nowadays without it being offensive. And I was like, oh gosh, where is this going?
He was getting a little salty.
He was getting a little salty. And I was like, I don't know where this is going, okay? And he says, I still can't believe he said this. He says, well, I used to be able to say anything that I wanted, and now I have to watch everything that I say. I have to watch everything that I do. Before, when I started in the workforce and I was younger, you could hit a woman's ass. Yes, and hit on her at work.
Oh gosh.
And I just thought, oh my gosh, super uncomfortable. I wanted to literally leave. Okay, at that moment in time, obviously.
And you're in his place, so it's already uncomfortable.
It's already uncomfortable. And basically he said a lot of inappropriate things that I was just like, get me out of here now, right? And so I couldn't run out of there fast enough, actually. And I was very glad that when it came time to list the house, he did not call me. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing you walking in the salt cave, and you're in the Salt Cave in one of those. Didn't they have like recliners?
It wasn't okay, so it wasn't, just to be clear, it wasn't
I think you're like
a
testing out
like,
the Salt Cave.
No. It was like, I want to say it was like in the entrance, or like not the foyer, but you know what I mean, like the whatever the entry area was, and it was like off to the side of the entry area, from what I remember. Yeah,
I had somebody do that probably maybe a couple years before that. Had me come to their work, and it was a cube, and everybody else was staying around. She wouldn't let me sit down. She had me stand up, taking the application at her desk, and grilled me almost like it was like public speaking presentation from the whole office on her specific file. Mm-hmm. So you have to be confidential at the same time. Like, okay, I feel like this lady's cross-examining me, and I'm standing up in front of her, like in front of the whole office.
In front of her.
It was the most awkward situation I've ever been in.
Super awkward, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, I almost did one of these things when he started saying things. I was like, is anybody else around? Like,
that was my next question. Was there anybody else around to listen to this?
There was, except for maybe somebody at the front desk. I feel like that was the other part of the reason why it was super awkward and uncomfortable, is it was because I was alone with this guy that like I didn't know, and he was starting to make inappropriate comments and statements.
Yeah.
So,
and that, as a woman, that's got to feel just kind of creepy, scary.
It's very creepy, very scary, and then also it just took me by surprise, because it's like, okay, in this day and age, like, why would you think it's okay to say something like that?
Right.
You know.
Right.
So yeah, super bizarre.
I wonder what he like. I wonder where he is now, because it's gotten more sensitive, right?
Yeah, and I know he sold the business. I'm pretty sure he sold the house and he sold the business. So I have no idea where he is now. But yeah,
interesting.
So yeah, that's my story with the Salt Cave guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if Salt Caves. We got to look that up. Jamie, just kidding. I did it. That was a Joe Rogan. So. Yeah, so
and I had another client. Yeah, so I had a client. I'm not going to say the person's name. So I had another client that year that almost drove me to the point of not quitting, but just almost drove me to the point where I thought, you know, human beings are just really cruddy sometimes, you know. And so I had him and his wife. I had their listing, okay. And it was a luxury listing, so there was a lockbox, and I showed it every single time. And this was before I had my team structured in the way that I do now. So I was handling everything by myself, okay? All the showings, things like that, okay? There was no co-list agent to help me out. Mm-hmm. So I was there for every single showing. So meaning I was there to turn on the lights beforehand. I was there for the duration of the showing, and then I would, you know, kind of take down, turn out the lights, make sure all the doors are locked afterwards. So each showing was probably a couple hours. And so this went on. And remember, this market was at least 4 months absorption rate, right? Inventory. And in the luxury market, it was even longer, actually. So it was anywhere from 6 to 9 months plus, okay, depending on the price range. So this was months and months of me, you know, putting in work. Okay. So then we didn't sign, because we didn't have buyer rep agreements required to be signed back then. So we didn't have one signed, actually. And they wanted to find a new home right after they sold. So we started looking already, even though their current home hadn't sold. And lo and behold, you know, after a little bit of looking, okay, I also listed another home in that same subdivision, smaller, okay. He knew that seller. And so then he thought, well, I'm just going to try to work a deal directly with that seller. Mm. And when I said, well, that's not really right, and I don't think that's fair, he essentially blackmailed me. And he said, well, I'm going to submit an offer through my attorney. I'm not going to be represented. And there's nothing you can do to stop me, essentially. And if you try to stop me, I'm going to tell everybody in my entire subdivision to not use you.
Wow.
Yep. And he's like, I'm a very connected person. Oh, it was really, really bad. To make matters worse, it couldn't have been just a simple situation, Bill, where so I had the listing, the second listing, the smaller house. I had it just in the private network at the time. It wasn't like officially listed yet. Yeah. Okay. And so to make matters worse, we showed that listing, and then we actually had multiple offers. And so he used that situation. Do you know what I mean? He used the situation to try to get an unfair advantage, because he knew that without representation, right, then he could get a better price because he wasn't asking for his agent to be compensated at that point, right? There was no co-op because there was no agent on the other side.
Yeah.
And so it made me very nervous for about, I think the, not statute of limitations, but the time period that like an agent can come back and be like, hey, what happened here? I think it's 6 months. And so for the 6 months after that, he did get the house, okay? And for the 6 months after that transacted, I was very nervous because I was concerned that the other 2 offers that were represented by agents, they would come back and say, well, wait a minute, something's fishy here. You know, it closed out for a price lower than what we offered or similar, you know?
Yeah.
But thankfully, nobody ever did.
Yeah.
You know, the 2 agents never came back and said, what the heck? But it put me in a really, really bad spot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that happen often? Because I've seen, like, if you don't really know.
We don't really know. Yeah.
Then
I mean,
I can
now
see
for
that
sure.
people would, I don't think people understand the etiquette when it comes to.
They don't. And it's not even the etiquette. It's just like, it gives you this like weird advantage. And then now it doesn't, because now there is a section. So back then, I don't remember if there was language in the actual listing agreement, you know, as far as unrepresented buyers. Mm-hmm. Now there is. So now it says in there, if the buyer is unrepresented or chooses to be unrepresented, right, the seller still owes X% or X amount in the commission. So basically what it does is it puts everybody in more even mm-hmm. footing. And doesn't make it so that it's like such a large differential. Yeah. And so that's why I try to explain to people now when they say they want to go unrepresented, I say that's totally fine. But just so you know, this is why. I mean, you're actually not only going to put yourself at a disadvantage, but you're definitely not going to have like a pricing advantage, because whether you choose to be represented or not, you know, the seller is still going to pay this, you know? Yeah.
And I've heard other agents say this too, is like, oh, okay, so if I have something that's unrepresented, I know that I'm going to be able to win the deal because I have the experience
exactly
in the market. And people think that they know how to work a deal, even if they're in sales in another industry. Mm-hmm. They just don't have the real estate knowledge to win.
Yeah. And I don't think people also understand, like, when they're represented by an attorney to write something up, right?
Yeah, right.
We actually had something just this weekend come up kind of similar, where a buyer is insisting or, you know, on self-representing or having an attorney write it up. And so we told them, we said, we have a second showing today. This was on Friday. Okay. And what do you plan to do if the second showing submits an offer and your attorney is not working over the weekend? Because attorneys typically don't work on the weekends. So how are you going to draft your offer up, right? And your attorney probably is going to respond over the weekend. And then secondarily, we were thinking, I mean, who's going to be there for the inspection? Who's basically going to carry it through, you know? Yeah. The attorney does their job and their role. But a lot of the kind of the little steps that people don't really think about in the beginning. Right. And then they also don't think about, if they're representing themselves, the listing agent has no obligation to them. Mm. The listing agent is representing the seller. Right. And so they don't have to even tell them, oh, there's a second showing, or, you know, we might have multiple, or we do have multiple offers. Submit your highest and best by X day. Like, we don't have any obligation to tell them any information, really. Yeah. And then any information that they say accidentally or inadvertently during the showing or in conversation, like, we don't have to hold confidential. Mm-hmm. You know, if we can advantage our seller, like, that's what most people don't understand. There's a lot of dynamics in play.
Yeah, and I think my thought is that as an agent in today's world, as well as a loan officer, buyer consultations are at the utmost importance, just to explain that, because let's be honest, even if you've done this 2 or 3 times, you still don't know behind the scenes what goes on.
Not exactly. Yeah. And so much has changed in our industry in the last 12 to 18 months, Bill, that, like, I don't know why anybody would want to do that or choose to do that.
Yeah. My brother sold his place over in Michigan to one of my good friends, and there was an agent that kind of popped into the equation like last minute.
Interesting.
Yeah, on the listing side, but my brother wanted to do the deal for every owner just because of knowing him. But it was the best thing that ever happened because there was a lot of emotion that was going on
That's the other thing.
inside the transaction that my brother said that agent actually saved the deal. So there's things that people don't realize that agents have that important piece that can keep a deal together.
Because we can keep it objective. We're not emotionally involved.
Yeah,
we're not charged, emotionally charged.
Right.
So we can kind of see things a little bit more objectively.
Yeah.
And guide the person. Yeah. So that was that. My team at the time, I'll be honest, was a complete disaster. I mean, I thought I had it all, but again, it was a hot mess. So just to kind of review the setup, I had 3 full-time administrative staff at that time. I had a listing coordinator, a transaction coordinator, and what we call like an executive assistant, executive admin. And then I had 2 full-time inside sales agents, making calls, at least 40 hours a week. And then the rest were agents. So if I do the math, I don't even know what that is besides me. And then that's -5. That's 10 agents, 9. That's a lot. Yeah. A lot of agents, bunch of agents.
And I think we brought this up before, but when you think about a business model, people think that the rent is like the highest cost. It's not.
It's not.
It's the people.
It's the people.
So that is when you're telling me that, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, because the ISAs
just in the beginning.
Oh, just in the beginning, yeah. Because the admins were on salaries, and then the ISAs were on a base salary, and then they were paid, a percentage of the deals that they got or originated. So at the time, it was a very busy year, and not in a good way. So I would say I had Isaac in May, and probably about 6 weeks, I want to say, before I had him, one of my ISAs, original ISAs, he became an agent. He decided to just quit. Okay. And then shortly after that, one of the agents, she quit, but it wasn't on bad terms. Her husband got a new job. So then they sold their house with us, and then they moved to Central Illinois. And then, so there was already a lot of turmoil during that time, if that makes sense. And then I went on a very short maternity leave, about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then came back. And then after I came back, in short order, the remaining 3 admin team came to me and decided that they wanted to negotiate with me on forming, have you ever heard of like 36 or 48 touch, like where you're like reaching out to past clients? Yeah. So they decided to approach me as a team, the 3 of them. Oh yeah, ganged up on me essentially while I was like just newly back.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I was just going to say, I'm learning that again after the 3rd child that there is postpartum and there's hormones, and then you have this happen at the same time. That's a lot.
So they sat me down.
Yeah.
They sat me down, Bill. And they said, we'd really like to do X, Y, and Z. We'd like to, get this, whatever it was called, 36 or 48, however many touches, okay, to past clients going. And this is what we're going to do. And this is kind of our plan. And then this is what we'd like to get paid in excess of what we're already getting paid to do our job, essentially.
What was going on in your mind at that time? Like when that happened, were you surprised by it?
Yeah, a little. Okay. And I was so vulnerable.
Yeah, right.
I didn't really know what to say. And I think I just stupidly, I was like, okay, sure. Because I didn't want to lose that. Because you have to remember my mindset at the time, right? I had just lost one of my previous ISAs that had been with me for like almost 3 years, 2.5 years. I had just lost an agent who I thought was a good agent, right? And then I just had my 2nd child. So I wasn't really in the best, stable mental state, right?
Sure.
And I didn't want to lose any. I was operating out of fear instead of, right? Because I was afraid of, losing more people.
Right.
Even though at the moment, and now looking back, it's like, Alice, some people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Where was your husband at this time? Because he's come in the last few episodes and helped put some reason behind it. Was he there at that point?
Yeah, he was. I don't know if he was there. As far as that, and I don't think it's his fault. I don't know if I like actually asked him what he thought. I think I just was like in panic mode, and I was like, sure, whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I wasn't, and I'm not, and just so you know, I'm not, asking that for any other reason. I just thought maybe he would, because it sounds like you guys have a great relationship where you're bouncing stuff off of him and he's giving you some insight there.
Yes. I'm sure he would have had some sage advice.
You just went with it.
I just went with it.
It's Alice's decision.
Yeah, I panicked. Yeah.
So what happened afterwards?
So what happened afterwards was, it went, we were okay for a while. We operated that way for a while. And because that was probably when they approached me, I want to say it was probably July of that year of 2018. So I was back, and then I just wanted to just continue working and have the team just move forward, right? And so we operated that way for a while, but now looking back, like they didn't really fulfill what they said they were going to do.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right.
They had a plan per se, but they didn't. They didn't execute the plan at all, really. So unfortunately, and even if they did, now thinking back, it's like they wanted me to pay them more money to do their job. Like
What are you gonna say?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I think when I listen to that, I'm almost like, okay, you guys surprised me, non-empathetic towards my current circumstance.
Yeah.
There would be a lot of resentment that would build up during that time.
It was a little bit, yeah.
Did that happen to you, or no?
Maybe? I don't know. I think I was still in like survival mode. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like not until later.
Okay.
That comes later.
That comes later.
That's the next year.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll get there.
Yeah. Let's not skip ahead. And then let's see. Oh, and then so I was with KW at the time. And KW, so now we're backtracking again to when I was pregnant or expecting. KW has a couple of events throughout the year. So one event that they have at the beginning of the year, typically in February, around my birthday, is a family reunion. Mm-hmm. And it's great, it's great for agents who want that kind of camaraderie feel. The entire company, the whole United States gets together, and they kind of talk about the status of the market. They have panels up on stage, etc. Well, on the way there, so I took my main admin and you remember how I was just saying the ISA who became an agent, he left, right? Mm-hmm. Like in whenever that was, March or April. So just before, in February, okay, I took him and my main admin on this trip. And it just goes to show you kind of like they just didn't get it. I was expecting, okay? And so when you're expecting, you have the choice. I'm sure you know this, Bill. When you go to an airport, right, and you go through security, you can either go through the metal detector, or you can choose not to go through that, and then they just kind of just pad you down, and they kind of just do a check. So at the time, I don't know why. I didn't want to go through the detector. I just opted, and so it took a little bit longer, right? So instead of waiting for me, they go through security.
See ya.
Peace out.
See you at the gate.
And I'm literally like, really? Like, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
That happened. Yeah. So that should have been, don't you think that should have been a hint or clue?
Yeah.
Or a clue that like something was going to happen.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I've had that. And airports seem to be those places where things just, there's the enlightenment.
There's the enlightenment. Like, that's the type of person they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, here's the other thing I was going to say too is KW, like they build on that building model of building a team. Mm-hmm. Do you think, no offense to KW agents or anything like that, but do you think that is a good model, or is that something where like you kind of like drink the water or Kool-Aid, so to speak, to build so fast that it got you into the situation that you're in?
Yeah, I think a lot of things actually, more than a couple things. So yeah, no offense to KW. KW was great for the time that I was there, as far as teaching me, going back to basics, teaching me again, or reminding me like what it means to build a team, what ingredients you have to have in order to be successful. Getting back to the basics of business financials, and then really kind of just like the ingredients that go into the recipe, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of just reminded me of the things that I lost sight of or forgot during that time. Do I think that it encouraged me to build like a mega team? Yes, I do, because I had visited several other teams throughout the country, KW teams, that were much bigger. And that was kind of like the aspiration. Like, okay, well, don't you want to be this 50-person team? Don't you want to have a team that produces $1 billion in GCI,
Yeah.
And it was like, at first because I was chasing
Sure.
and chasing,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's what I want. Oh yeah, that's
Right.
what I want. And then, towards the end of my time there, I was like, is that really what I want? Like, I don't know, I don't think so. And then it also became very clear that, their model works for some people, KW's model. Like, they're great for new agents for training, right? But for me personally, it was just not the right spot, because I was constantly the splits were great, but I was constantly being asked to do I was constantly being pulled in a million different directions by the office. So can you teach this class? Can you do this? Do you have a minute to talk to this person? Oh, this person is coming and we're trying to recruit. Can you come in and meet with us for a little bit? So I was constantly being asked, I don't want to say favors, but yeah, I was constantly being pulled.
Yeah.
And then it distracted me from what I was actually doing, which was running my business, running my team, being the team lead, etc., mentoring my people.
Yeah. No, I'm experiencing that right now. When you say things, I've said this before, but every time you say something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of what I'm experiencing right now. Like, you're getting pulled in different directions, and like, okay, where is it making you money?
Yes.
If it isn't making you money, then is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
And
I just found myself like almost like too scattered brain. I really need to like refocus, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then there were just a lot of things that were promised there that just didn't, and it's okay, it just didn't come to fruition. Like the technology there, they kept saying, okay, well, it's going to come out, it's going to come out, it's going to come out, it's going to be great. It just never happened, and then it was just, to be honest, yeah, the splits were great, but I just felt like I was nickeled and dimed there a little bit, like, oh, you made copies and you took paper out of the copy machine, and it just wasn't the environment that I work well in.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. You got to be able to spread your wings and let the support happen on the back end.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. My brother, this is for those people that may be feeling stuck into a place, but the question you have to ask yourself is, am I okay if nothing ever changes with this place? If it doesn't, if you're not okay with it, then you have to make a decision to move.
Then you gotta,
Because I've seen that even with my brother's company, and I always make a joke, Dave, you're gonna love it, I was more loyal to his company than he was. So he left and went up to Wisconsin to a different company, and I stayed for a couple months. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I had to move to a different company, and that's when volume went from like 18 million, which is okay, to 50 million. Within 1 year.
Exactly.
And it's usually when you're looking at growth, you're looking at maybe a 20% improvement. But if you know that you're not feeling it and you have to make the decision, it's risk reward.
Correct.
Move on.
Yeah. And that's what I was feeling. And I don't think it would be fair to blame it all on that brokerage or,
not at all.
my time there. But if you just look at my production though, 2017 was like the height. And I had joined KW at the end of 2016, if you remember.
Yeah.
And then 2017 was, at the time, like the highest production year that we had. And then 2018 and 2019, granted, 2018 I had a child.
Yeah.
But 2018 and 2019 were like, the volume definitely decreased,
Yeah.
And so that was definitely something I was looking at, over time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how did you reset? What happened?
During 2018 or 2019 or
20 was it 2018 where you reset, or is that coming?
no, that's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 2019 in the next episode. So I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yep.
So
And then so that year was 2018, all in all was still really good. It wasn't as high as the previous year, but we still did just over 41 million.
wow, that's good.
And then 109 units, which is pretty crazy.
That is amazing.
Which is pretty crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we had a lot of turnover. I would say, a lot of the agents, it was like a revolving door. They came for a little bit and then they were either asked to leave or it just didn't work out. They weren't meeting standards or metrics. And then there was one agent who did help me while I was on maternity leave, but then I realized that unfortunately he didn't always tell the truth. Yeah. So, because I would come back, when I came back, the clients would say one thing and then he would say something else. And then I'd be like, well, I don't know who to believe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or he would say like he did something, whether it was, oh, I checked in with the client or I did this and then I would find out later that actually did not happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that wasn't great.
You got to have somewhat of integrity in this business, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I would say even in looking at this list, again, and I know we've said this a lot, so Britta stayed with me for a while, until 2022. And then there's only really, I think, one other person on this entire list that's still in the business on the agent side. And then my main admin, we'll talk about her more on the next episode.
Yeah.
She is still in the business, but as an admin.
Yeah.
Working
Wow.
for another agent. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, last question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What would be the theme of 2018? When you think back at 2018, what would be the theme that comes to mind?
Just like instability, chaos, backstabbing, just not great. I mean, don't tell my son that. That's the year he was born. He'll be like, what the heck, Mom?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. He's 7, so yeah, he'd probably say, alrighty.
Alrighty. Well, I appreciate it. It's always
Thank you, Bill.
interesting, and I always learn something on every episode. So
Absolutely.
we will see you guys on the next episode and see what 2019 brings for Alice and her team.
See you then.